So, hello everyone, and welcome to our
Hi guys.
welcome to our Mystic Sense series on enhancing intuition. Today with us is Laura Donna from Mystic Sense. I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Yes, you did. Yes, you
Okay.
did. Thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's so wonderful to connect to you and to do this. I love the subject so much. So thank you so much for this.
Thank you for being here.
Of
So,
course.
Laura Donna is tagged in our description. If you would like to get a reading with her after the session or talk to her more, definitely check her out on Mystic Sense as Sacred Temple. Search Sacred Temple to find her and book a reading. So before we dive into our topic, could you please share a little bit about yourself and your spiritual practice with our viewers?
Oh, yes, of course, I would love to. So I do tarot readings, oracle readings. I also work with the archangels, and I also do Reiki healing and EFT healing. And I also work with crystals. And so, if you have any situation that you need guidance into, if you need clarity, answers, or if you just want to know what's in store for you, then of course I would be more than happy to guide you, to support you, and to give you the answers and the messages that are here for you.
Thank you so much for that introduction.
Of course. You're
So
welcome.
let's Oh, yes. So let's dive into our first question. What exercises and techniques can listeners use to enhance their intuitive abilities?
So I first want to say just the general, like maybe definition of intuition, because I think it's important that we understand what intuition is. Of course, intuition is something very personal, so it might differ from one individual to another. But I just wanted to say that we live in a sea of vibrational information because everything is energy. So we are all interconnected and we are interacting with this field of information constantly. So our intuition is our own internal guiding system through the world and the experience on earth. So I think it's such a powerful tool to use. And I think it's just something that can enhance your life and can bring so many benefits. So how to develop your intuition? I would say first by tuning in. So you really have to be in touch with your internal world. You need to be able to understand your own energy. So, what are your thoughts, emotions, feelings, and how your energy changes? So, I think tuning in is the first step towards developing your intuition. And then, of course, practicing mindfulness. So paying attention to your internal space, your own, body, thoughts, and energy, and so on. But also paying attention to whatever it is that needs your attention at a certain point in time. So it can be like a space or a situation, a conversation, and interaction, or whatever it is the subject of your attention. And then noticing. So, like I said, noticing the changes in your energy as you move through the day or through your experience. So, noticing is the first step, so that you can then translate that information. So, for example, when you feel that something is off, uh, like you can tell that there was a change in the energy or in the interaction, uh, and in the same way, you can tell when you're more at peace, when you're, for example, speaking to someone or, doing a certain type of activity. So basically, I think it's important to create a baseline for your energy, and that can be done by meditation. It can only, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be like a deep trance meditation, but just having a moment of quiet and peace for yourself at the beginning of the day before you actually start your day. So before you go into checking all the notifications, emails, and news and everything else, I think it's important to set some time that in which you just reconnect with yourself, and you reconnect with that, like, the bigger part of you. So just tuning in to reconnect to that divine essence that we all have as human beings and as energy beings, right? So I think meditating at the beginning of your day can give you this baseline. So basically, it's like an energetic anchor that you set for yourself. And then whenever something comes and tries to, like, grab your attention, or, maybe ask for a reaction from you, if it's something that it's good for you or not, or, like, you can tell, like, what the impact of that is going to be for you. So that will also give you more focus, more productivity. But in terms of intuition, it's going to help you really refine your intuition. Like, you're going to be more in touch with yourself, and you're going to be able to hear your intuition. So also, meditation is going to help you maintain a higher point of attraction. So you're going to be able to attract, like, much better, opportunities, or just types of experiences to you, because everything being vibrational, you're going to attract, like, a vibrational match for where you are. So that's why I think meditation is key. And then journaling is also a beautiful tool to use, because we tend to be like, constantly bombarded with information and details. And, we are so connected on social media in so many ways, that I think sometimes we just don't realize that we are not, like, we don't have time for ourselves, like, just to be like, just to be able to sit in silence with yourself for a bit, just to hear, like, where am I now? So because we just get constantly distracted, like, something wants our attention constantly, right? So journaling can help you, because you have a chance to get it out of your system, to just unload all that, everything that you have been picking up over and over again, for, um, however long you have been doing it for. So you need, like, journaling can be like an outlet, and then you create this space inside yourself, because it's out of your system, it's like out of your mind. And then you have this beautiful space of calmness, and you can, like, have a chance to just catch your breath, and then to listen to your intuition, if you have, like, if a reaction or a response from you is needed. So also, I wanted to really talk about nature. because nature is such a wonderful way to ground yourself, right? So whenever we go out in nature, we immediately feel lifted. So whether that's you're hiking on a mountain or you're mm, like running in a forest, but it can be as simple as just taking a walk in a park or just by a body of water. That is enough for your brain to get into a more coherent state. So nature has this ability to absorb like a sponge any negative energies that are in your aura, your system, your field at that time, and can give you so much peace. And again, nature is the perfect space to again get in touch with that beautiful divine space and like essence that all life is connected by. So then, like, the more time you spend in nature, the more you realize how everything else, it's like you start to wonder, like, why was I so um what do I want to say, like I was so caught up in so many things that actually they weren't important. So nature and being in nature will give you this clarity and this perspective. And I think we all need that, at least from time to time, even for, I mean, actually, especially for those that live in cities, right? So yeah, I think once you spend some time in nature, then your intuition is going to also be able to come up more, like in a more clear way.
Thank you for sharing that insightful information.
Of course.
So, could you share some specific exercises or techniques that have been particularly effective in developing intuition, particularly with your experience?
Yeah, so like I was saying, meditation was a big thing for me because it has transformed my life. Um, I I wasn't really sure what it could do for me. And like when I got back into it, because I did have like a brief, uh, encounter, let's say, when I was maybe 12 years old. And I thought meditation is really cool, but because no one else was doing meditation around me in my life or in my family, it, you know, it was just something like a brief thing. But then at some point, I needed like this. I felt like I need this calm and this peace, and I didn't really quite know. Like I didn't know how to get to that place. And I thought, okay, so meditation is basically when you just sit and in stillness, you focus on your breath, and you gradually come to a more calmer place. And so I started doing that. And as I was doing it and adding more, like a few more minutes a day, so I started with 15 minutes and then gradually went up to 45 minutes, up to an hour. Of course, you can do more, but anything around an hour is like it's perfect, right? So when I started doing that, like suddenly I just got this complete, like my day would go completely different. Like I was more clear, I was more in tune with myself, with everything that happened. Like I had almost like visions, like vivid visions of conversations that were going to happen, and they did happen in that day, and I knew I was prepared. Like I had this like inner, like I was centered. I knew what I wanted. I like there was no how do you call it? There was no confusion. So my intuition was just, like activated like 100%. And I was like, oh my God, why didn't I know about meditation sooner, So meditation is again one, and then breath work, because your breath is your first so first of all, I like to use this phrase that your breath is a bridge to the divine, because basically, as long as you are breathing, you are connected to life, right? So you are also connected to the divinity that is in you and around you. So your breath is going to give you information about where you are, like vibrationally and emotionally, right? So if you're on the lower vibrational spectrum, like you're, I don't know, fearful, anxious, frustrated, or even if you have like heavier feelings, or emotions like anger, so your breath is going to tell you, like you're going to notice when you're in the lower vibrational states, your breath is not, like, it doesn't flow. So it tends to be like a shorter breath and also more contracted, and you feel like you cannot get enough like oxygen into your system, right? Whereas when you are balanced, when you're flowing, when you are in that flow state, then your breath is just calm. The pace is, like it just feels natural, right? So you know that you're in a good space. Like there's nothing um, that tries to, to make your energy contract. So breath work can be a very good way for you to get back to your like center and to get back to that balance. So I think it's crucial to do some breath work. Also, breath work and meditation, they are connected. They are, they're basically, you use your breath to go into meditation and into that meditative trance that I was talking about. So yeah, when you are in a calm space, then you can hear your intuition. So I think that's really important.
Definitely. I 100% agree that meditation is like the gold standard of developing intuition.
Yeah. Yes.
Definitely. I've taken lots of courses on intuition development and psychic abilities, and meditation is always like, usually always the first thing that they tell you about in some form. If they don't teach you meditation first, then I would question that course personally.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm a big fan of meditation, like I said, because of my personal experience. Like honestly, I would not be doing the job, this, if you can call it a job, what I do now without meditation. I'm sure that so remember I was telling you earlier that I had this transition from being in a, like a corporate type of environment, and then I transitioned into this spiritual guidance. And this is um, this would not have been possible if I wasn't constantly listening to my own intuition, and that if I didn't, like seek to live my truth, my inner true path. So yeah, meditation is really key.
It definitely is. And I feel like the meditation, the reason it's so vital, no matter what else you do, if you do nothing else but you meditate, it will do so much for you because
Yes.
it teaches you to listen and to go
Yes.
within and pay attention. And
Yes.
that's what that intuition is all about.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Yes. So I don't have much experience with breath work, so that's very interesting. The points were very fascinating to me. I want to
Mhm.
try adding that to my meditation.
Yeah.
um, it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. It'll tell you how you're feeling. So that's a really good technique to incorporate as well. So why is it important to trust intuitive hits and gut feelings?
Um, so I I probably should say that I'm Cancer with the Cancer ascendant, right? So Cancer being like a water sign, and the ascendant, the Cancer ascendant or Cancer rising, in particular, this sign will give you a strong intuition naturally. So it's always, I think it's important that when you have this natural abilities, that you lean into them. So I think they were given to you for a reason, right? So what I want to say is that intuition is something that holds so much power. Like it helps you get out of the mind, which like the main purpose of the mind is to keep you safe. So it will naturally look for possible threats and it will inform you, right? So because we are like our attention is being, in high demand like so much of the time during the day, your brain starts to only react to things rather than responding to them because there's no space to process the information that comes. And so you're always exhausted, but not from doing too much, right? So basically, what intuition will do is going to pull you back into yourself and help you reconnect, like I was saying before, with what matters. So, what matters is what is really, like beneficial to you. And so, your intuition is going to tell you that. But again, you have to make space for it. You have to give it time, because it, you cannot be like in two places at once. So it's the same with your focus. You need to be able to have that balance and not live life, just up here. You also need to go down into all the elements of your system, and your intuition is a key factor, I think. So why it's important to trust those? Why are you okay?
I'm sorry. I thought a bug landed on my leg. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay.
I saw this thing and I was like, oh, wait. Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So these intuitive hints are messages from your higher self or your inner being, in the words of Abraham Hicks. So basically, they will always make sure, so your guides, right, or your higher self, or God, or the universe, however you want to call it, they want to make sure that you are on the right path constantly, that you are living, to the best of your abilities, that you are fulfilling your potential, that you are walking your true path and fulfilling your purpose here. So they will always like support you in this way. But again, in order for you to hear everything that comes to you in this way, you need to also like be open to it, make space for it and pay attention to it. And I also want to say that your body is like an antenna, right? So even for those who, let's say, don't necessarily, like maybe they don't see a lot of value in intuition, even the people that don't use intuition, and they seem to be so practical, for example, even even they have intuition. So it's just a matter of choosing to just lean more into it and start like using it just just a bit more, because it has, again, so many benefits. Like, nothing is lost. It's not like, oh, I don't want to be intuitive because I'm going to miss this other practical part of my life, or of aspects of myself. But it's not going, you're not going to lose anything. You're only going to enhance everything, and you're going to be able to um like put your natural abilities to even better use by also incorporating intuition.
Thank you for sharing that, and I apologize for the distraction.
No, it's okay.
It's
I mean,
springtime.
I could talk for hours if you let me.
Yes, it's springtime. The bugs are coming out, and they're like everywhere, and it's really like,
yeah, I know.
like, sorry about that.
No, you need to pay attention.
Yeah, I noticed this. I was like, oh my. So anyway, thank you for sharing that. It's very interesting. So I want to add one thing to this question before we move on to the next one, is intuitive hits. Now, a lot of psychics know what that means. A lot of spiritual people know what that means, but not everybody knows what that means outside of this industry. Would you like to share what you feel intuitive hits means?
So I gotta be honest, I don't think I heard this term often. So again, being a natural intuitive person, and like I said, with this all this Cancer energy in my birth chart, like for me, this is a way of life. Like it took me a while to figure out that this was happening. Like before, like I call it before and after. So before I first look at my birth chart and read about all of these things, and then after, like, my life changed completely when I understood these things about myself. So what I could say probably would be that I sometimes have like stronger intuitive hits, so, and that will definitely happen during meditation. Or sometimes they will happen when you would need them most. Like for example, let's say you have an interaction with someone, and that the messages that they are giving you are very negative, like they are impacting your life in a major way, and your first initial reaction would be to go into defensiveness, right? But your intuition is going to tell you, well, this is exactly where you're supposed to be now. This is exactly how it's supposed to happen, because there are much better things coming for you, and you should receive this with grace. Like completely like different from what some would call like a normal reaction. So just just listen to your intuition, because that's your higher knowing. That's your higher self telling you you are right on track. You're going to be perfectly fine, and there's nothing to fear but fear itself.
Yes, very good point. And the reason I picked out this word in particular
Mhm,
is because it is very nuanced and a lot of people don't know what it means.
mhm,
I had to look it up when I first heard it.
mhm.
And it's not used that much outside of the psychic industry in particular.
Yeah.
So the intuitive hit is kind of like when that light bulb goes off and you
Mhm,
know that
mhm,
something is right or wrong.
mhm.
And it's very strong, it's very pronounced.
Yeah.
That's hitting the target. And I know in tarot reading in particular,
Yeah.
and I feel like this could apply outside of tarot because tarot is just one tool of many that people
Exactly.
use.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, but I know a lot of people will say that the hit is when they, say the thing. It's like a light bulb goes off. You just know this is what's going on, and it's confirmed,
Yeah. Yeah.
whether that's by the client or by an event that happens or a
Mhm.
situation. It's confirmed true, and you just have a very strong knowing. And it's like
Yeah.
that piece of information is so much more on bold than everything else that you're picking up on. Like that is my personal understanding of it.
Mhm.
Um, but I want to make sure our viewers are clear on what we're talking about when we use this word because it is quite a
Yeah.
niche thing
Yeah.
um, for our industry.
Yeah. I mean, it happens to me all the time. Like I said, because I'm naturally intuitive, and I often coach people into how to develop their intuition and how to work with intuition because it's something that you can't see. So people are like a lot of people are afraid of it, and so but for me, it's something that again, like it's part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, because um, it's what do I want to say? Yeah, I wanted to say that it's natural, and the more you use it, the more you will have these intuitive hits. So it's like you're training yourself, and you're becoming more in tune, and that's going to create this constant alignment for you. So you're going to have this alignment because those moments are an energetic alignment, and they are sorry, an alignment between you, like your physical avatar in this moment, and your higher self, which is your soul, which is eternal. So yeah.
Okay, excellent. Could you discuss the role of intuition in decision making and navigating life's challenges?
Yeah. Um, so I think it's about choosing, like I said, from the heart and from a place of peace, and not letting your fears or like negative emotions be the driver of your experience. So I think that's really important.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, intuition is definitely something that, it's something to listen to, even if you think it's irrelevant or it's minor or it's not significant, it's there for a reason. There's a
Exactly.
reason why
Yes.
you're picking up this energy.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
And we don't often know what that reason is. Sometimes we do, most of the time we don't.
No, like, yeah, we're not supposed to know some things before they happen, like, it's like a lot of times you will understand, like, you will see the whole picture, but only in hindsight. So that's also why, like, it's important to trust your intuition. Like, even if you don't have all the facts, if you know that, if you feel like there's something off or there's something wrong there, and like there's something so strong that tells you this is not for you, or maybe you shouldn't say this now, follow that, because that's valuable support and information.
For sure. And that goes for friendships and relationships as well.
Oh yes.
Just
Yes.
want to put that out there
Yes.
because I've had that experience where it's just a situation, It's not like it's the person, it's just me and them didn't mesh, and that's
Yeah,
just the intuition.
exactly. Yeah. It's not a judge on their character. You know, sometimes it can be, but it's not about that. It's about what's meant for you, and like if you are where you're supposed to be on your path.
100%. So, what are some examples of some stories or stories that highlight the positive outcomes that can result from trusting intuitive guidance?
So let's say you want to book a trip somewhere and you have all these options, right? And like all of them, they are on your bucket list, and like everything seems perfect, but you're not sure, okay, what do I choose next? So try to like, let's say, like have like a fun exercise, right? So just pull up all the options. Let's say you have 3 or 5, and then try to see which one lights up when you know, check the details, whatever the name, the location, pictures, whatever information you have on that, and see which ones bring this, like they activate the heart chakra space. So intuition will happen, like I said, through your whole body, because your whole body is or has the potential to be an antenna. But especially like intuition will always be um, like you're going to feel this feedback in your heart space, your solar plexus, and your sacral chakra. Like these 3 chakras are really going to give you so much, like so many messages, so many, you know, like it will feel like a resonance or like a jolt, you know. So you're going, they will activate and they will give you certain pieces. So try to see which one of these options are like giving you this sense of peace or lightness, because lightness is an indication that you are, you know, like there's no threat there, like that's like your higher path, that's like your happy space, you know. So that's one way. So you can let your intuition guide you this way and really pick the place that resonates with you most. One other example could be when you're choosing your crystals. So I'm gonna try to show you. I don't know if the camera can pick up. Well, this is a blue obsidian, for example. You know, so I just like I wanted to say this for the people that are drawn to crystals, because I know more and more people are right now, and we are seeing this huge, you know, like phenomenon of people going and buying crystals for themselves. Um, try to go into a physical store and try to go and pick the ones that speak to you. Like they will call you, because each of these crystals, they have an energetic signature. So try to go in and like, you know, hold them in your hand, and you will feel immediately if this, you know, little rock or pebble, however you want to call it, pebble, is for you, you know, or not. So yeah, using your intuition this way and connecting to the objects in this way is also something that's going to help you develop your intuition more. And I have like other examples, of course, when you're choosing a partner, you know, like when, I don't know, maybe you're dating and you have a couple of promising options, but you're not sure, you know, who's the right one for you. And again, try to go into the heart space, Like just try to get quiet, get still, breathe, like take a few deep breaths, try to center and ask yourself, is this person someone that I feel safe with? Like that's a major key, because you need to be able to be yourself fully with someone, to share your thoughts, your life details, like personal, intimate details about yourself. So try to connect to this space, rather than trying to see like the mental, like the checkbox, like I don't know, if he wears like certain clothes, or if he eat certain foods, or whatever else, like other details seem to be important. Not that they are not important, but they are not as important as the ones that have to do with like the energy, details, like if this person is able to be genuine, like to be honest, to be caring, compassionate, kind, patient with you, because those will be what will make the relationship last. So it's not just about the practical details, it's also about this willingness to create, like the relationship as time goes by. And of course, I mean, I think I can safely mention about how to choose your guide, like, because we are like in this niche. And so in the spirituality niche, I would see a lot of people that are disappointed by, certain interactions, let's say. And I just, like, I always, so for example, some people come to me and they're like, but how do I know if I can trust you? And I'm like, well, try to check everything that's in this space, right? And try to ask honestly, what are your concerns? What are your goals? And what do you want to, like, what should be like the takeaway? Like, why are you searching for guidance? And you know, like I always tell them, you should never work with someone, especially if you want them as your guide, if you don't resonate with them. Like that's a major key element. Like, you know, try to see, like, do you like them as a person? Do you think that they can bring value to where you are now in a certain way? And if you have some questions, like I said, try to write them down and try to ask them like openly, because being open and also trusting your intuition on this is going to create us like a much more different and better experience. So yeah.
Yeah, there's some really great points that you brought up. One thing that really resonated with me was feeling in your heart chakra, feeling in your heart space.
Yeah.
I know it's important to ask yourself, am I thinking this or am I feeling this? Because
Oh
that's
yeah.
very two different
Yes.
things.
Yes, that's such an important distinction to make. Yeah, those are two different energies, like we have with the tarot, that you have the swords and then you have the cups, right? So swords are mental energy, thoughts, words, and then cups are emotions, feelings. So yeah, it's a different spectrum. So it's important to be able to tell which is which before, yeah, you can you can make a decision. Mhm.
For sure, because I know a lot of people that I've come across have asked, how do I know it's my intuition and not just my thoughts? How do I
Mhm.
know I'm not thinking this? And to me, that's my answer is, are you feeling this or are you thinking about it? Do you feel an emotional connection to this? Because that's going to tell you if that's intuition or if that's just a thought that came in your head, if that's what you think about it. So
Yeah.
definitely pay attention.
Yeah,
Meditation can help you realize those differences.
exactly. Yeah. So I would add to that, try to do like this little exercise where try to see if this thing, whatever it is, so it can be a situation, a person, an object, a job maybe. Try to see if it causes you like your energy to contract or to expand. Because what's meant for you will help you expand. What's not meant for you or what's like mixed, it will cause some type of contraction to your energy. You're going to feel it. Like if it's not in your heart, like in your chest, it can be on the solar plexus or on the lower, like the sacral chakra, So try to, again, of course, pay attention and you're going to notice the difference.
Absolutely. So, what are some tools that can aid in intuitive development, such as oracle cards, pendulums, and automatic writing?
Oh my God. So, um, as with any type of divination tools, like whether that's tarot, oracle, they can operate insight into our own subconscious, right? So, I think it also depends on what type of question you're asking for the reading. So, for example, you can use the cards to double check something that your intuition tells you. So you will have like the intuition that comes and you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense, like you're immediately going to a yes, and then there will be an intuition that will also give you this, but how can that be, because there are other factors that like they don't make sense together. So you feel like you need to double check this, like, or maybe try to, which is another great way to work with intuition, is to try and ask it, but what are you trying to tell me? What is beyond this message? Because whatever you're getting in the first, uh, let's say, a few seconds, it's the beginning. There's usually more, behind it. So then you can use like just checking the cards and I mean, we're just talking about intuition and trusting, and this card was it was already there. So yeah, then you can basically start to make connections between the initial message that came through your intuition and whatever the next answers that you get, no matter how you get them. So a lot of times you can connect only through your body, your system. So you can sit in meditation and you can ask further. You can like write them down, like write down whatever comes to you, because a lot of times, like I said, more will be there. So meditating and getting more answers that way is one way. Then you can use, like I said, like the oracle or the pendulum. And for example, you can ask, are you trying to protect me from something? And the pendulum will go back and forth, and that would be a yes, let's say. And then you can ask, you might get like another intuition, message that will, like a certain person can come to your mind. And you can ask, are you trying to protect me from the actions of this person? and then, you know, the pendulum might go back and forth again, or round and round if it's a no. Like, this is my system. There are many ways of you know, of using dowsing or pendulum, but this is how I work. So yeah, so you can use them this way. And also, for example, you wanna grab a tarot card, and I wanna give like a small addition, to make a small addition to this. So this is the King of Cups, right? So for example, if this card comes up, and it's a, again, depending on the question, right? Like, what's the reading about? You might, like, as you read the card, as you read, you know, you combine the messages. Like that, this is how I work. I combine the messages that come through my intuition with the messages that come through the cards. But in each reading, there will be a specific element or detail in this picture that will draw my attention more than everything else. It's almost like sometimes I wouldn't see anything else but that detail, which tells me that there is something worth noting. Like there's something worth mentioning, and like almost 100% of the times, the client, or sorry, the person that I'm doing the reading for, they will be like, yes, because, you know, like they will immediately make the connection with something in their, like, the actual experience. So again, this is another great way to, you know, to use your intuition and to work with it, you know, like really going, like walking the path, because your intuition is, like I said, it's a guiding system. So it will guide you on a certain path where you can reach a point where you have so much more clarity, and you're like, oh my God, you know, like you have this, like, you know, you feel this rush of like high vibrational energy, and you're like, now I understand, and now I know what to do. Now everything is so much clearer. So your intuition wants you to, you know, to slowly guide you to this place.
Yeah, some wonderful tips here. I also want to add for beginners out there, and I want to add two things actually to this discussion. The first thing is, you had mentioned, you know, that the tools are there to confirm your intuitive hits, and the tools are in addition to intuition. I 100% agree. I actually read very similar to the way that you read tarot. Like we have the same style. But I do want to add that for our viewers, that these tools are not a replacement for your intuition.
Yes.
They are tools. So they're here to help you enhance. And, you know,
absolutely, yeah.
That's the first thing I want to point out, is that these are not replacements, but they're enhancements to your natural gifts. The second thing I wanted to mention is doubt comes up a lot if you're a beginner, especially. I personally dealt a lot with this doubt, especially with the new divination tool. Am I good enough? Am I interpreting it correctly? Is that really what the card means? Can I trust my intuition? Is that just in my head? All of these things. These things, yes, they hold you back a bit, but they're also important to recognize. I've observed in my practice, recognize where your doubt is and what it's stemming from. Is it a self-worth issue? Is it self-esteem issue? Is it because someone didn't like the reading you gave them? What is the cause of the doubt? And you know, address it from the source, really. And if you doubt, I want to mention this because I want to show off my tool a little bit. If you're doubting, because we talked about pendulums, if you're doubting your ability with a tool, for example, pendulums, I had this happen Little bit of story time personally. I was using pendulums for years, and suddenly I was doubting them, and I said, my hand is moving, I'm making it move. It's not the pendulum. So instead of trying to force myself to use that tool that I wasn't resonating with anymore, I decided to pick a new tool. And this is something, dowsing rods. So if you're like me and you're having issues trusting your tools, get a tool that you cannot really control, is what I'm going to say. This is no real interpretation, and it's free flowing. So no matter how my hand is moving, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's going to move the same way. So
Yeah.
I want to add that, just because I know a lot of people have doubt when they're starting a new thing, is that, dowsing.
Yeah. I mean, there's such a big range of tools that you can use. And again, choose your tools based on how you resonate with them. So it can be tarot, it can be oracle, or for example, it can be, like angel cards. Angel cards, speaking of, for the people that are just being initiated into this type of practice, angel cards are such a great way to slowly ease into things. Like, I wouldn't recommend, if you don't feel drawn to tarot, or you're like, oh my god, tarot is too complicated or it's too much, you can start with angel cards, and there are so many beautiful angel decks out there. And like, angelic energy, of course, is one of the most supportive, so you can get so many messages and details into your situation, or whoever you're trying to do a reading for, through angel cards. So yeah. And of course, like I said, try to maybe look at your birth chart and see what are the elements, like what percentage your elements are there, like what percentages you have, like you check your water placements, like talking about intuition. Your water placements are going to tell you how you tend to deal with your intuition. Like, do you use it? Do you tend to use it, or do you tend to push it aside because you don't trust it, or whatever it is? So that's like a great way to see kind of how what's your internal making, which is always a crucial point to start if you're doing this type of work, right? So whatever type of spiritual guidance you want to do, it's important to know yourself first. Like, this is, we know this as, spiritual guides. Like, this is you can't do this type of job without constantly knowing yourself, and like finding more about who you are, why you're here, and all those details.
100%. It's definitely very important you know who you are before anything else. So how do these tools work to provide insight and guidance in intuitive practices?
So like you were saying, they are tools, right? So they can work, they can confirm something, they can give more insight, they can give more clarity. I think one other important tool is the question itself. Like, you really have to pay attention on how you are phrasing the question. And also, maybe it's worth noting that sorry, whenever you go into the reading as the person that asking the questions, it's important to stay very open. Like, are you willing to receive maybe some uncomfortable answers, because that's also a possibility. So try to go into a reading with an open mind, and also like let go of your fears. Like trust that the guidance is there to support you, and that a way can always be made, a way can always be found, as long as your intentions come from the sorry, from the heart, and you are like they are pure intentions. Like um because some people, they let fear get the best of them, and they tend to ask questions, and you can tell that they are trying to control the outcome. And I try to tell them, listen, you're not going to get, first of all, the tarot will tell you, they will give you the answer to that question, but you're not going to like it, Like let's try to rephrase this, and let's let the universe give us clarity first. Like, I think it's important to come from that place where you want clarity rather than control. Because if you're looking control, that's a different path. So I just wanted to mention this, that it's so important, the space that you're coming from when you go into the reading, any reading, right? So then, if your question is like, depending on how you're phrasing it, you're also going to get a certain answer. So I would also want to say that like for the reader, like I think it's important that we trust that oracular moment. So the moment you are, you shuffle the deck and then you pick a card, right? So you have to trust this. Like, even if it doesn't make sense to you when you first see the card, it's like, but like you look at it and like, this has nothing to do with what I asked, like that's an initial normal human reaction. But try to stay with the message. Try to stay with the card. Like, try focusing on it for a bit. Look again, look at the details, see which detail will draw your attention more, and then ask, ask in your mind, like trust that spirit is your team of guides and angels. They are there and they are ready to answer. So try to ask them, what do you want to tell me through this? And you will get answers if you just tune in and are in that space of calm. You're going to hear like certain words, you're going to have visions of maybe certain people or places, whatever it is that pertains to that reading, you're going to receive this. And then you can, of course, like one way that I work a lot of times is, if you get a card that doesn't really make sense, right? Or let's say you start to get the idea, but you're still not quite sure, how is this important to my question? Then you can ask, like, can I please get more clarity on this message? And then you're going to get like a second card, and so then you can start to make connections between the two of them, and you're going to get more clear on what it is that spirit is trying to tell you. So a lot of times, for example, I would get so let's say a client comes with a question, right? And I'm checking the cards, but as I'm checking the cards, I immediately, like, my eyes just go to like a certain crystal. So for example, this crystal is linked to the throat chakra, and the throat chakra has to do with speaking your truth, which is, like one of the highest vibrations, is something that we are all learning as a collective right now, how to do, like in better ways, because we have been oppressing, or repressing some of the things that we really wanted for ourselves, like both on an individual and collective level. So now we are tuning more into that, and we are learning how to develop the, the space of the throat chakra. So if I see this crystal, I know that this crystal has the message that this person is actually under a lot of stress because they haven't been speaking their truth for a while now. And when I give them this piece, like I instantly, like they instantly feel the shift, and they're like, oh my God, you're so right. I have been doubting myself. I was silent when I know that I shouldn't, I didn't want to be silent. And that over time can translate into this, like underlying trauma, because whenever we are not expressing, we are repressing. And that can really, like damage our energy. And then it goes into disease, and like it's a whole thing that happens once you keep, like once you, um, like you're denying who you really are. And again, so you can basically combine all these elements, like anything that you have around you can be used to guide whoever comes to you, or for yourself, if you want to do a reading for yourself and you want to get, clarity on whatever subject you're on. So yeah, I mean, these are a couple of ways in which you can use them. But again, there are so many. Like for example, I'm clairsentient. So like that's the, like maybe the main tool, because I'm also clairvoyant, clairaudient, but like I try to work as ethically as possible, so to speak. So I try not to pry, and I don't go into someone's spaces or spaces unless they are actually, inviting me and they like it's a clear agreement. Otherwise, how I do my readings, I mostly connect to their energy. So the energy of their persona, and also the energy of the situation and the other people involved that are, linked by the reading. So I would, for example, get messages on what blockages they might have active on either of the chakra or more chakras sometimes. So I basically, I don't only do like a card reading or, oracle reading. I also do an energy reading. So I can connect to their energy, and I can tell where their energy is contracted and where they need healing most. So I also use that in my reading. So a lot of times, for example, a client would come in, they would, like give me questions, details, and I would tell them, okay, please take a deep breath for me, because your energy is so contracted that whatever guidance I'm going to give you, you're not going to be open to it. You're not going to be able to receive it. Because if you're not in a receiving state, then, like the purpose of the reading is for you to really be able to integrate and do something, like apply something from the reading. It's not just, oh, let's look at the cards and let's read some cards. It's not just that. It's you're supposed to like really receive the guidance. So if you're not receiving it, then it's it's not going to have much impact, right? So yeah, so I also read this way. And of course, I use this um, especially in my Reiki sessions. So for people that want to, dissolve any blockages or let go of trauma or any maybe karmic attachments or whatever they have going on. So I also use this tool, let's say, of connecting to their energy.
Thank you for sharing that insightful information. I feel like you and me have very similar styles of reading.
Yeah.
I really resonate with that. And when you said, you pull a card and it looks like, how does this make sense? It doesn't fit with the question. I have been there many times, and
Yeah.
the card is there for a reason. Just trust
Exactly.
that.
Yes.
And it may not make sense to you as the reader, but it does mean something to someone in some aspect of that situation.
Yeah.
Even if it comes out later.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So with our last question, as we wrap up this episode tonight, could you offer some guidance on how listeners can effectively use tools like oracle cards and pendulums in their spirit or their intuitive work or their spiritual work?
Well, so I would say, try to pick the tools that resonate with you, like I was saying before, right? Once you have like this certain deck or runes, whatever you're using, I would try to have like create a connection with them, like make sure that they are somewhere in your home where there's no clutter. Of course, I recommend cleansing your space before working with any of the tools, right? Palo Santo. So I have a bag here. So this is Palo Santo that you can use. You can also use like a special water for rituals. This is Agua de Florida. Sage, of course, that's the classical tool for cleansing. So cleansing, make sure there's no clutter where you work and where you keep your tools, your decks, whatever you're working with. And I would really like, again, pay attention to your own, intuition or guiding system, however you want to call it. They will kind of call to you when they have a message for you, even if you're not asking a question. If there's an important event or something to expect, they want to give you a heads up, so if you feel called to them, listen to that call and try to shuffle the deck and try to see what comes up. So that's one way to work. And then of course, whenever you are in need of any type of guidance, you can use them. Like this is what they are for. And yeah, like I said, you can use any of the techniques that I shared, like pick a card and then ask for clarification, or you can do like a 3-card reading, for example. There are so many spreads that you can find online, like for literally anything. Like I don't know if there's something that you cannot do a reading for, So yeah, and the more you use them, the more you create this dynamic, and it's you're going to after a while you're going to start and see, like when you have a question, you're going to have cards coming into your mind instantly, even before shuffling the deck. So that happens to me a lot. So I would see the card in my mind before I would actually see it, before shuffling the cards. So yeah, practice practice and follow your intuition. Make sure you resonate with the tools that you're working, and ask from you know, from the heart space.
Thank you so much. Some great guidance for people. And don't feel like you have to use a tool if you're not resonating, because intuition comes in many forms and many different ways.
Of course.
So,
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
huh?
Absolutely.
So as we're wrapping up, do you have anything you'd like to add to our viewers before we end this episode tonight? Anything you'd say?
So, I mean, maybe just to repeat something that I said at some point in regards to fear. So, I think it's important for us to note that there's such a huge difference between coming from love and coming from fear. So, whatever it is that you're doing, either that you are asking a question or trying to, get clarity, whatever it is that you're doing, it's important to let go of the fear first, because fear is going to create more confusion. It's really not something that will guide you on the right path. So whatever is fear-based will cloud your judgment and will add to the confusion, right? So I think the fear, it's important to remember to let go of the fear and to really trust that you are always being supported.
Thank you so much. That is a lovely way to wrap up our episode tonight.
Thank
So,
you.
yes, thank you for joining us. This is Sacred Temple with Mystic Sense. You can find her profile link in the description of this video. So make sure to head over to her profile and check it out, and get a reading with Sacred Temple if you'd like to connect with her personally on our platform.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode on enhancing intuition, and I look forward to seeing you all next week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. Take care.